Stand on a public sidewalk and record a video of an abandoned storefront, one claiming to be a state-funded charity, and you could face prison. California Assembly Bill 2624, labeled the Stop Nick Shirley Act by its opponents, creates a new legal boundary. It bans the digital distribution of video evidence featuring workers at state-funded non-governmental organizations. To hide these identities, the bill expands the state's Safe at Home program. Originally a high-security registry for domestic violence survivors, the system is now flooded with thousands of political organizers, legally withholding their employment records from public requests. The bill contains no exemption for the press. Under this statute, an investigative journalist documenting the misuse of taxpayer funds faces the same criminal liability as a malicious actor posting a private home address. The legislation was authored by State Assembly member Mia Bonta. Enforcement falls to the state's top law enforcement officer, Attorney General Rob Bonta. He commands a $1.3 billion department with thousands of investigators and sworn peace officers. This creates a closed loop of state authority. One spouse writes the law, the other enforces it, and the result is a system of prior restraint that removes the public's ability to document the operations of state-funded entities. In Sacramento, Mia Bonta chairs the Legislative Budget Subcommittee that determines the operational funding for her husband's Department of Justice. This arrangement allows the Bonta household to control both the prosecutorial office and the legislative purse strings that support it. This concentration of power is now colliding with an expansive FBI corruption probe centered in the East Bay. In June 2024, federal agents raided the properties of the Duong family, the owners of a major recycling conglomerate and longtime financial backers of the Bonta political network. Federal investigators allege the Duongs utilized straw donors to funnel illicit cash to local and state politicians. The center of this operation was the Music Cafe, a venue investigators linked to money laundering, narcotics distribution, and human trafficking. The probe took a personal turn when an FBI informant sent a letter directly to Rob Bonta. The letter alleged the Duongs used hidden cameras at their properties to record public officials in compromising situations, creating leverage for future blackmail. While Rob Bonta denied the existence of any such recordings, his campaign soon spent $468,000, the most in state history for a candidate's legal fees, to retain an elite law firm for advice regarding the federal investigation into the Duong family. Local prosecutors have since documented that the Attorney General is too compromised by these ties to manage the related criminal cases. In this environment, any independent filming of allied NGOs represents an immediate threat to a network already facing federal scrutiny. The drive to criminalize video journalism follows a massive exposure of state-funded fraud in Minnesota, a scandal that demonstrated the vulnerability of NGO-led programs. Federal auditors in the Twin Cities uncovered what they described as industrial-scale fraud. Taxpayer funds meant for low-income communities were diverted into hundreds of shell entities and fake daycare centers. Independent journalist Nick Shirley bypasses traditional media reporting by traveling to these locations and filming the empty storefronts. His videos provide visual proof that these heavily funded facilities were often non-existent. These viral videos bypassed institutional gatekeepers, forcing a federal response that eventually led to Shirley providing witness testimony before a U.S. House Judiciary Committee. AB 2624 functions as a direct legislative countermeasure to these methods. By criminalizing the distribution of video captured at these facilities, the bill ensures that the tactics used to expose the Minnesota fraud are illegal to deploy in California. The state is moving to block the lens of the camera because their grant-based networks cannot withstand the public scrutiny of a recorded walkthrough. The penalty structure is built on a specific escalation. Posting a video is a baseline misdemeanor. However, if a prosecutor decides the video led to any physical harm, the charge becomes a felony, carrying a $50,000 fine and a sentence in state prison. This mechanism shifts the legal burden onto the publisher. A journalist exposing fraud becomes criminally liable for the unpredictable actions of any third-party viewer, a standard that effectively bypasses established First Amendment protections for speech. The authority responsible for prosecuting these journalists and demanding content be removed from the internet is the Attorney General Rob Bonta. This creates a chilling effect for the media. Traditional newsrooms, facing high legal risks and felony charges, will likely avoid investigations into state-aligned NGOs to prevent bankrupting litigation. Publicly funded organizations would then operate as closed systems, invisible to public records requests and immune to citizen documentation. If California successfully implements this model, it provides a national blueprint for political immunity. By rebranding investigative journalism as a form of harassment, politicians can transform the exposure of corruption into a crime.